The champagne glasses stopped clinking the moment the projector screen flickered to life. There was my best friend Brianna, tangled in sheets I recognized from my own honeymoon suite. Her face was flushed, hair messy, whispering my husband's name like a prayer. The room went dead silent except for someone's shocked gasp. Pink balloons bobbed from the ceiling. Half-eaten petit fours sat abandoned on china plates. 20 women in sundresses stared at the screen, then at me, then back at the screen. The elegant decorations suddenly felt like props in a theater of betrayal. "Oh my God," someone whispered. "Is that?" "Yes," I said, voice steady as stone. "That's my husband Tyler." Brianna froze by the gift table, her mimosa slipping from her fingers. The glass hit the hardwood floor and exploded into 1,000 sparkling pieces, just like my trust had 6 weeks ago. Orange juice and champagne spread across the white marble. I stood at the back of her bridal shower, arms crossed, heart beating slow and sure. I'd waited 42 days for this moment. Planned it down to the second. And now, watching her perfect world crumble in real time, I felt something I hadn't felt since my wedding day. Peace. Time moved like honey. Her bridesmaids gawked. Her future mother-in-law covered her mouth with both hands. The video kept playing, their breathless laughter, his familiar groan, her delighted squeal. Every sound from the speakers felt like nails on a chalkboard. I didn't cry. Didn't scream. Didn't even blink. I just watched Brianna's face drain of color as she realized what was happening. What I'd done. What she'd lost. Her perfect composure cracked like ice under pressure, revealing the panic underneath. "Sophia," she stammered, looking at me with wide, desperate eyes. "Please, this isn't what it looks like. I can explain." "Oh, it's exactly what it looks like," I said softly, my voice cutting through the shocked silence. "And everyone here deserves to see the real Brianna." Her cousin Natalie was recording on her phone. Her college roommate had her hand over her mouth. The older ladies from her church group looked like they'd seen the devil himself. Mrs. Patterson, who'd taught Sunday school for 30 years, was clutching her pearls. Brianna took a step toward me, then stopped. She knew better. She'd seen this look in my eyes before, during college when someone cheated on an exam, during our first jobs when coworkers tried to steal credit. But she'd never been on the receiving end. My best friend slept with my husband weeks after my wedding, so I played their secret video at her bridal shower. That's the headline that would trend on social media later. That's the story that would be shared in Facebook groups and whispered in coffee shops across town. Within hours, it would have millions of views and thousands of comments. But right now, in this moment, it wasn't a headline. It was just the truth, finally set free. The video ended. The screen went black. 20 pairs of eyes turned to me, waiting. Some looked horrified, others impressed, a few seemed to be calculating how quickly they could share this story. I smoothed down my yellow dress, the one Brianna had specifically requested for her sunshine theme, and picked up my purse. My hands were steady, my breathing calm. I felt like I was floating above the chaos. "The wedding gift is on the table," I said calmly. "It's a picture frame. I thought you might need it for your engagement photos." I paused at the door, turning back one last time. "Oh, and Brianna? You might want to call Marcus." I sent him a copy too. Her fiancé's name hung in the air like smoke. Brianna's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for water. I walked out into the bright Saturday afternoon, leaving chaos blooming behind me. My name is Sophia Wells. I'm 31 years old, an accountant, and until 6 weeks ago, I believed in happily ever after. I've always been the careful one. The planner. The friend who remembers birthdays and keeps receipts and never drinks more than 2 glasses of wine. People call me responsible, reliable, maybe a little boring. My mother used to say I was born with an old soul. My husband Tyler was my opposite. Spontaneous, charming, the kind of guy who could talk his way out of a speeding ticket with a smile. He sold real estate and somehow always landed on his feet, even when he shouldn't have. Women flocked to him at parties. Brianna Foster had been my best friend since freshman year of college. She was everything I wasn't: bold, beautiful, magnetic. The kind of woman who could walk into a room and make everyone want to be near her. She was my maid of honor, my chosen sister, the person I trusted most. We'd been planning our weddings together for years. Mine happened first, a perfect June ceremony with white roses and string lights. Brianna caught my bouquet, laughing as petals rained down on her dark hair. 3 weeks later, she caught my husband too. The first month of marriage felt like floating on clouds. Tyler brought me coffee in bed every morning. We hung wedding photos and organized gifts and talked about buying a house. Everything felt new and precious. Brianna came over constantly, helping with thank you cards and wedding album decisions. She'd sit at my kitchen island, sipping wine and flipping through photos. Her engagement ring caught the light as she turned pages. "You look so happy, Sophia," she'd say, studying pictures of Tyler spinning me on the dance floor. "Like, actually glowing. Marriage really suits you." She asked a lot of questions about Tyler's schedule. When did he leave for work? Which clients kept him out late? Did he travel much for showings? At the time, I thought she was just being friendly, maybe learning about married life. Soon, I'd tell her when she seemed wistful. "Marcus will propose soon. You guys are perfect together." She'd smile and nod, but something flickered in her eyes. Something I didn't recognize then but understand now. It wasn't envy of my marriage, it was hunger for my husband. Looking back, I realized she was already planning her betrayal while sitting in my kitchen, drinking my wine, pretending to celebrate my happiness. Hunger. I notice numbers. It's what I do for a living: catch discrepancies, spot patterns, find the truth hidden in spreadsheets. My clients trust me to find what others miss. So when Tyler's credit card statement showed a $340 charge for dinner with the Johnsons, on a night I remembered him being home with me, I paid attention. The Johnsons were our neighbors, and they'd been out of town that entire week. When there was a hotel charge in the next town over on a Tuesday afternoon when he said he was showing houses locally, I made a note. When the mileage on his car didn't match his claimed appointments, I started keeping track. "Hey babe," I said one morning, holding the statement. "What's this charge at the Riverside Inn?" Tyler barely looked up from his coffee. "Oh, that? Networking event with some investors. Boring stuff. You wouldn't have enjoyed it." He kissed my forehead and grabbed his keys, already moving toward the door. "Love you, Mrs. Wells," he said, using the name that still made me smile. I watched him drive away, then opened my laptop. The Riverside Inn didn't host networking events. I knew because I'd called and asked, pretending to be interested in booking my own company retreat. Doubt is a quiet thing. It doesn't announce itself with sirens and flashing lights. It whispers. It suggests. It plants seeds that grow in the dark spaces of your mind, feeding on inconsistencies until they become impossible to ignore. Tyler started working later. Brianna started being busy on weekends. Small things shifted, inside jokes I wasn't part of, glances that lasted too long, conversations that stopped when I entered the room. There was a new energy between them, electric and secretive. "You're being paranoid," I told myself. Newlywed nerves. But I kept watching. Kept noticing. Kept tracking the little inconsistencies that didn't add up to an innocent explanation. My accounting brain couldn't turn off, couldn't stop auditing my own life. Brianna canceled our Thursday night dinners twice in a row, claiming work emergencies. Tyler claimed he was showing houses to out-of-town clients who couldn't meet during business hours. They were never home at the same times they used to be. I started paying attention to their phones. How quickly they flipped them face down. How often they stepped outside to take calls. How their faces changed when certain notifications popped up, a softness, a secret smile that used to be reserved for Marcus and me. Something was happening. Something they thought I was too trusting to notice. They were wrong. The smoking gun came on a Wednesday morning while Tyler was in the shower. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text message from Brianna lit up the screen, and I could see the preview without even touching the device. Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. I stared at the words until they burned into my retinas. Then another message appeared, like a confession written in digital ink. Delete this. Sophia's smart. She'll figure it out if we're not careful. The phone screen went dark. The shower kept running. Steam crept under the bathroom door like fog rolling in from the ocean, carrying with it the scent of Tyler's expensive body wash. I sat on the edge of our bed, the bed we'd picked out together, the bed we'd made love in as newlyweds, the bed that now felt contaminated by secrets, and felt something inside me go very, very still. Not broken. Not shattered. Still. Like a predator watching prey from the shadows. Like an accountant who'd finally found the error in the books that had been haunting her for weeks. When Tyler came out of the bathroom, towel around his waist, I was brushing my hair at the vanity. "Morning, beautiful," he said, kissing my neck. I smiled at him in the mirror. "Morning, sweetheart." I didn't scream. Didn't confront them. Didn't do any of the dramatic things you see in movies where wives discover their husband's affairs and immediately explode into righteous fury. Instead, I went to work. I ate lunch. I smiled at coworkers and answered emails and pretended my world hadn't just tilted off its axis. I attended meetings and reviewed spreadsheets and made small talk about weekend plans. But when I got home that evening, I sat in my car in the driveway for 20 minutes, hands gripping the steering wheel. The house looked the same, white shutters, red door, flower boxes Tyler had hung with such pride, but everything had changed. My best friend and my husband. The two people I trusted most. Laughing at me behind my back. Planning around me. Treating me like an obstacle to be managed. The rage hit me all at once, hot and bright and consuming. I screamed in my car until my throat was raw. I beat the steering wheel until my hands hurt. I cried until my eyes were swollen shut. Then I wiped my face, fixed my makeup using the emergency compact I kept in my glove compartment, and went inside. "How was your day, babe?" Tyler asked from the couch. "Fine," I said. "Just fine." But I wasn't fine. I was something else entirely. I was dangerous. Over the next week, I became a detective in my own life. I installed tracking software on our shared computer, the same kind my company used to monitor employee internet usage. I checked phone records and credit card statements with the thoroughness of an IRS audit. I followed Tyler during his lunch breaks and noted which houses he actually visited. The evidence painted a clear picture. Hotel receipts on days when Brianna told me she was working late at the nonprofit. Matching lies about their whereabouts. Text messages that were deleted but still lived in backup files, cached in the cloud. They'd been planning this. Coordinating schedules. Making sure I wouldn't find out. Their deception was methodical, almost professional in its execution. They'd underestimated my skills, both technical and investigative. The most damning evidence came from Brianna's cloud storage account. She'd given me the password months ago so we could share wedding planning documents. She'd forgotten to change it, a crucial oversight. Buried in her photos folder, hidden among vacation pictures and wedding inspiration boards, was a video file labeled TNB Private. I downloaded it onto a secure drive. I watched it once, just to confirm what I already knew. The timestamp showed it was recorded 3 weeks after my wedding. Then I started planning. Brianna's bridal shower was 6 weeks away. Her wedding was 2 weeks after that. I had time. Time to plan something perfect. Something that would reveal the truth with maximum impact and minimum legal risk. I wasn't going to let anger make me stupid, I was going to let precision make me deadly. I wouldn't destroy her in anger. I'd dismantle her with precision, the same way I balanced complex financial portfolios for my clients. The first step was maintaining the illusion. I had to be the perfect best friend, the supportive wife, the woman too trusting to see what was happening right under her nose. I helped Brianna address shower invitations, my handwriting flowing across expensive cardstock. I offered to handle the playlist and decorations, volunteering for every task that would give me control. I smiled when she gushed about Marcus and how excited she was to be a bride. "You're the best, Sophia," she'd say, hugging me tight. "I don't know what I'd do without you." "I don't know what you'd do without me either," I'd reply, my voice honey-sweet with hidden meaning. She never heard the edge in my voice. Neither did Tyler. They were so drunk on their own deception, so convinced of their cleverness, that they missed every warning sign. They thought they were so clever. They had no idea they were dealing with someone who balanced million-dollar budgets. I volunteered for everything. Shower planning, bachelorette party coordination, wedding day logistics. Brianna was thrilled to have my help, practically glowing with relief. "You're so organized," she said during one of our planning sessions. "I trust you completely." That trust gave me access to everything. Her vendor contacts, her timeline, her guest list. Most importantly, it gave me access to her expectations and deepest fears about the event. Brianna wanted her shower to be perfect. Elegant but fun. Classy but memorable. She'd been planning it for months, pinning inspiration photos and comparing venues like she was curating an art exhibition. "I want it to be the kind of party people talk about for years," she told me over coffee, her eyes bright with anticipation. "Don't worry," I said, stirring sugar into my latte with deliberate slowness. "It definitely will be." I spent my evenings creating spreadsheets that would have impressed my most demanding clients. Guest seating charts based on who would have the strongest reactions, Brianna's conservative relatives near the front, her social media savvy friends scattered throughout. Equipment rental lists that included a high-definition projector. Timeline schedules that built to the perfect moment of revelation. Brianna thought I was being thorough. She had no idea I was orchestrating her complete downfall. The video editing took 3 weeks of lunch breaks and late nights in my home office. I kept it simple. No dramatic music or special effects. Just the truth, clearly presented and impossible to deny. Professional quality footage that would display perfectly on the high-definition projector. 1 minute of footage. Their voices. Their faces. The hotel room timestamp showing it was recorded 3 weeks after my wedding, in the hotel room Tyler had charged to his business account. The jewelry Tyler had given me for our anniversary visible on the nightstand. I added a simple title card, for Brianna, on her special day. "With love, Sophia." I burned it onto 3 different USB drives and tested it on multiple projector systems. Perfect quality every time. No technical difficulties would save her. The hardest part was acting normal around them. Smiling when Tyler kissed me goodbye. Laughing at Brianna's wedding planning stress. Pretending I didn't know that every kind word from them was a calculated lie. "You seem different lately," Tyler said one night, studying my face. "More. I don't know. Confident?" "Marriage suits me," I replied, echoing Brianna's words from weeks before. He had no idea how much it was about to suit me. The last month before the shower was performance art at its finest. I played the role of the perfect best friend flawlessly. I organized Brianna's bachelorette party, a wine-tasting weekend where she got drunk and cried about how much our friendship meant to her. "You're my sister, Sophia," she sobbed into my shoulder, her tears soaking through my silk blouse. "I love you so much. You're the most loyal person I know." "I love you too," I said, rubbing her back while mentally reviewing my timeline. I helped her choose final details for the wedding. Flowers, music, seating arrangements. She wanted everything to be perfect for her and Marcus, the man she was betraying while planning their future together. Marcus, who had no idea his fiancée was sleeping with another woman's husband. Marcus, who sent me a handwritten thank you card for all my help planning their perfect day. I felt sorry for Marcus. He was innocent in all this, just another casualty of Brianna and Tyler's selfishness. Brianna and Tyler, though? They deserved everything that was coming to them. Every moment of humiliation, every destroyed relationship, every consequence of their calculated betrayal. They'd made their choices. Now they'd live with the results. The night before the shower, I couldn't sleep. Not from nerves or second thoughts. From anticipation that thrummed through my veins like electricity before a thunderstorm. I'd triple-checked everything. The venue was set. The projector was tested and ready. The USB drive was in my purse, along with 2 backups. The guest list was confirmed. All the people who mattered most to Brianna would be there to witness her humiliation. Tyler was snoring beside me, one arm thrown over my waist. 6 months ago, that would have made me feel safe and loved. Now it just felt like evidence of his arrogance, his complete confidence that he'd never face consequences. He thought he was untouchable. They both did. They'd built their affair on a foundation of my supposed naivety, never imagining that the quiet, reliable wife might be capable of strategic thinking. I slipped out of bed and went to the kitchen, making myself chamomile tea and reviewing my plan one final time. Every detail was perfect. Every timeline matched. Every piece of evidence was irrefutable. At 2 a.m., Brianna texted me, "Can't sleep. So excited for tomorrow. Thank you for everything, bestie. You're amazing." I typed back, "Can't wait. It's going to be unforgettable." Then I went back to bed and slept like a baby. Saturday morning arrived with perfect weather. Sunny but not too hot. A gentle breeze that would make the outdoor photos beautiful, if there were any outdoor photos after what I was about to do. I dressed carefully in the yellow sundress Brianna had requested for her color scheme, adding the pearl necklace my grandmother had left me. I did my makeup flawlessly, paying special attention to waterproof mascara. I arrived at the venue an hour early to oversee final setup. The country club ballroom looked exactly like Brianna's Pinterest boards. White and gold decorations, fresh peonies and roses, elegant table settings that probably cost more than most people's car payments. The projector screen was positioned perfectly at the front of the room. "Everything looks incredible," Brianna said when she arrived, radiant in a flowing white dress that made her look like an angel. "You outdid yourself, Sophia. This is exactly what I dreamed of." She hugged me tight, and for a moment I almost felt guilty. Almost reconsidered. Almost chose forgiveness over justice. Then I remembered the hotel receipts. The deleted texts. The video of her in my husband's arms, whispering his name like a prayer. "I wanted it to be special," I said, my voice steady. "It already is," she replied, completely oblivious to the irony. She had no idea how special it was about to become. The shower started perfectly. Guests mingled and admired the decorations I'd so carefully chosen. Brianna opened gifts with appropriate squeals of delight, her performance flawless as always. Everyone commented on how beautiful everything looked, how thoughtful the details were. I played my role flawlessly. The devoted best friend, capturing every moment on camera, making sure everyone was having fun, ensuring the mimosas kept flowing and the conversation stayed light. Speech time. Brianna's maid of honor announced as dessert was served, individual lemon tarts that I'd specifically chosen because they were Brianna's favorite. I stood up with my champagne glass, the USB drive burning like a secret weapon in my pocket. 20 pairs of expectant eyes turned toward me, waiting for touching words about friendship and love. "Before we toast the bride," I said, my voice carrying clearly across the room, "I have a special video to share. Something that really captures who Brianna is as a person." Brianna beamed, thinking it was a montage of old photos or college memories. "I've been working on this for weeks," I continued, walking toward the projector with measured steps. "I think it shows a side of Brianna that some of you have never seen before." I slid the USB drive into place. The screen flickered to life. "This is for you, Brianna," I said, meeting her eyes with a smile. "With all my love." I pressed play. The first few seconds were just hotel room ceiling, the camera angle awkward as it was being positioned. Then the view shifted, and there they were, crystal clear in high definition. Brianna's face. Tyler's profile. White sheets and breathless laughter and words that couldn't be misunderstood or explained away. The room went dead silent. Someone dropped a fork. A chair scraped against the floor as someone stood up too quickly. I heard Brianna's aunt gasp. "Oh my God," Brianna whispered, her face going white as snow. "Turn it off. Turn it off." But I didn't move. I stood beside the projector like a museum curator presenting a masterpiece, watching 20 women process what they were seeing with varying degrees of shock and disgust. Brianna's boss from the nonprofit where she worked as a fundraising coordinator. Her future mother-in-law, who'd always treated her like the daughter she never had. Her teenage cousin who'd driven 3 hours to be here. Her church friends who'd known her since childhood. They all saw her tangled in bed with another woman's husband, 3 weeks after his wedding, whispering his name like she owned it. When the video ended, the silence was deafening. "That was filmed 6 weeks ago," I said calmly, my voice cutting through the stunned quiet. 3 weeks after my wedding. In case anyone was wondering about the timeline. Brianna started crying. Ugly, desperate sobs that echoed off the walls. I picked up my purse and walked toward the door, my heels clicking against the marble floor like a countdown to Judgment Day. Behind me, chaos erupted. Voices rising in shock and anger. Chairs scraping. Someone demanding explanations from Brianna, who was now hyperventilating into a cocktail napkin. "Sophia, wait." Brianna called out, her voice cracking with desperation. "Please, I can explain." I paused at the door and turned back, taking in the scene one final time. The scattered gifts, the overturned champagne glasses, the faces of 20 women who would never look at Brianna the same way again. "Explain to Marcus," I said simply, my voice carrying across the room with perfect clarity. "He's expecting a call." Brianna's face crumpled as she reached for her phone, probably seeing the 17 missed calls from her fiancé who'd already received his copy of the video. "How could you do this to me?" she whispered, her perfect composure finally completely shattered. I looked at her, really looked at her, for what I knew would be the last time. The woman who'd been my maid of honor, my confidant, my chosen sister. The woman who'd betrayed me in the cruelest way possible. "I didn't do anything to you, Brianna," I said with complete honesty. "I just stopped protecting you from the consequences of your own choices." Then I walked out into the bright afternoon sunshine, leaving her to face the wreckage. By Monday morning, Brianna's wedding was cancelled. Marcus had seen the video. So had his parents, his groomsmen, and half the town through social media shares that spread like wildfire. The story had gone viral, screenshots, shares, shocked comments from strangers. Brianna tried calling me 17 times. I didn't answer. I'd changed my number and blocked her on every social media platform, cutting her out of my life cleanly. Tyler tried to come home Sunday night. I'd changed the locks and left his belongings in boxes on the porch, along with a note directing him to his lawyer's office. "Sophia, please," he shouted through the door, pounding on the wood. "Let me explain." But there was nothing to explain. The video had done all the talking necessary, providing evidence that no amount of charm could overcome. I filed for divorce on Tuesday. My lawyer had already reviewed the evidence, video footage, financial records, phone logs, everything needed to prove adultery and financial deception. With Brianna's video and Tyler's lies about business expenses, I had grounds for everything I wanted. The house. Half his business assets. Alimony based on his actual income, not the reduced version he'd been claiming. Brianna's professional reputation was ruined. Tyler's real estate license was under investigation for ethics violations. They'd built their affair on lies. Now those lies were burying them both. The fallout continued for weeks, each day bringing new consequences I hadn't even anticipated. Brianna's nonprofit fired her for conduct unbecoming after donors started withdrawing support. Marcus's family demanded she return all the engagement gifts, the crystal, the silver, the expensive kitchen appliances. Her landlord received calls from concerned neighbors. Tyler's business partners dropped him after clients started canceling listings, unwilling to work with someone they couldn't trust. The real estate board launched a full investigation into his expense reports and client relationships, discovering a pattern of deception. The video had been shared on every social media platform, despite Brianna's desperate attempts to have it taken down. But since I'd filmed nothing, merely shared something that already existed, there were no grounds for removal. They'd thought they were untouchable. They'd thought I was too naive, too trusting, too weak to fight back against their coordinated deception. They'd underestimated the power of evidence. And they'd completely underestimated me, the quiet accountant who noticed every discrepancy. I didn't celebrate their destruction. I didn't post about it online or gossip with mutual friends. I simply watched from a distance as the natural consequences of their choices played out. Actions have results. Lies have costs. They were finally learning what those costs looked like. Brianna showed up at my office 3 weeks after the shower, looking like a ghost of her former self. She looked terrible, hollow-eyed, thin, wearing clothes that hung loose on her shrinking frame. Her usually perfect hair was unwashed and pulled back in a messy ponytail. The confident, magnetic woman I'd known was gone. "You destroyed my life," she said, standing in my doorway. I looked up from my computer where I was reviewing financial projections for a new client, a woman whose husband had been hiding assets. "No," I said calmly, not even pausing in my work. "You destroyed your own life. I just documented it." She stared at me like she was seeing a stranger, her eyes searching my face for some sign of the forgiving friend she'd always known. "This isn't who you are, Sophia. You're kind. You're forgiving. You don't do things like this." The Sophia I knew would never. "You're right," I agreed, finally meeting her gaze. "The old Sophia would have confronted you privately. She would have given you a chance to explain. She might have even forgiven you." I saved my work and closed the laptop. But that Sophia died the day I found your texts. This Sophia believes in consequences, evidence, and justice. Brianna left without another word. I never saw her again, though I heard she moved across the country. Tyler tried a different approach. Flowers. Apology letters. Showing up at places he knew I'd be, trying to corner me into conversations I had no interest in having. "I made a mistake," he said when he cornered me at the grocery store, blocking my path. "One stupid mistake. Please, Sophia. We can work through this. One mistake." I laughed, genuinely amused by his attempt to minimize months of calculated deception. "Tyler, I have 6 weeks of evidence. Hotel receipts, phone records, mileage logs. You made 6 weeks of deliberate choices." His face fell as he realized I'd been investigating long before the shower, that my revelation wasn't based on a single moment of discovery. "You've been planning this," he said, the accusation heavy in his voice. "Yes," I admitted without shame. "Very carefully. Very thoroughly. Very professionally. That's vindictive. That's calculating. That's not who you are." "It's exactly who I am," I corrected, pushing past him toward the checkout lanes. "You just never bothered to find out." The divorce was finalized 4 months later. No contests, no appeals, no attempts to negotiate. Just a clean break from a man who'd never really known me at all. 6 months after the shower, I opened my own accounting firm in a sleek downtown office building. Wells Financial Solutions specialized in helping women navigate divorce proceedings and financial abuse cases. We offered forensic accounting, asset tracking, and evidence preservation services, all the skills I developed investigating my own husband's deception. My first client was Marcus. Brianna had hidden assets during their relationship, money she'd been saving in secret accounts, presumably for her future with Tyler. We found every penny, plus interest. Word spread quickly through women's networks and divorce attorney referrals. Soon I had a waiting list of clients who needed someone who understood how to find hidden truths in financial records. At my office warming party, surrounded by successful women who'd rebuilt their lives after betrayal, a local reporter asked what inspired me to start the business. "A wedding video," I said with a smile that held years of hard-won wisdom. The story ran with the headline, "Local Accountant Helps Women Take Control of Their Financial Futures After Infidelity." I framed it and hung it on my office wall, right next to my CPA certificate and a photo of my new life. I don't think about Brianna and Tyler often anymore. But when I do, I remember the moment the truth lit up that projector screen, the collective gasp of 20 women seeing reality. People called it revenge. Vindictive. Cruel. They said I went too far, that I should have handled it privately, that I destroyed two people's lives. I called it justice. I called it consequences. I called it the natural result of choices made by adults who thought they could hurt people without repercussions. They'd made decisions believing they'd never face consequences. They'd hurt people assuming their victims would suffer in silence. They'd built their happiness on other people's pain. I simply made sure the universe balanced the books, the way I'd been trained to do my entire professional life. Sometimes clients ask if I regret what I did. If I wish I'd handled it differently. If I think I went too far. The answer is no. Brianna was right about one thing: the old Sophia might have forgiven them. She might have tried to work things out, to save the friendship, to preserve the marriage. But the old Sophia would have spent the rest of her life wondering who else was lying to her. Wondering what other truths were hidden behind smiles and promises. This Sophia sleeps soundly every night. This Sophia trusts her instincts. This Sophia knows that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to enable someone's worst impulses. The truth might hurt, but lies hurt more. And at least the truth has the decency to be honest about it.